Tucked away in central Colorado are the classified remains of a revolutionary government program.
So we're on a nondescript block on the edge of Pueblo. We're near some railroad tracks.
At first, it looks like a storage yard or maybe a parking lot. But then behind the fencing, you notice these vast white objects.
Each one is different, but they are all long airplane-like structures, streamlined, but with no wings.
These vehicles are a version of an American future that never quite came to fruition.
It's like being in one of those 1970s sci-fi movies that tries to show you what the future will look like.
It's not obvious how they work or what they were used for, but what's very clear is that they were extremely powerful.
Printed on the side in bold letters are the words United States Maglev Initiative.
A phone call to a government official revealed that one machine is still a closely guarded state secret.
And he says, "How do you know about that?" I said, "I'm standing looking at it." I sent him a picture, and his first word was, "Shit."
These machines originally lived at a secretive government testing facility less than 30 miles away.
It's kind of like a little Area 51 out there. You can't drive up to it. They'll get you.
Ron Roach, a former U.S. Navy submariner, knew that acquiring these unique vehicles would be a major coup.
A lot of people in a prior organization here had tried to get these, and they wouldn't let them go. I went out there being military, ex-military myself, and they're all ex-military out there, and we got our heads together.
From 2008, a Pueblo-based foundation officially took ownership of these innovative vehicles. They represent an era when American transport was at a crossroads.
We can point to the 60s as the decade where Americans really fell in love with the car.
The government was deeply concerned about the potential for a countrywide gridlock, and they felt that another mode of transportation was desperately needed.
In 1965, Congress passed the High-Speed Ground Transportation Act. When President Johnson announced the act, he said, "Today, an astronaut can orbit the Earth in less time than it takes for a man to travel on the ground from New York to Washington, D.C."
Other countries, however, were taking impressive strides forward.
At the same time, the Japanese were unveiling their new 130-mile-per-hour bullet train. France, meanwhile, was pushing ahead with their futuristic aerotrain, which was being tested on tracks just outside of Paris.
Built to achieve a normal cruising speed of just over 100 miles an hour, the aerotrain achieved nearly double that speed on test run.
The world was racing ahead at breakneck speed. The U.S. had to catch up, and it had to do it quickly.
Military contractors submitted ambitious plans, and these three vehicles emerged as America's leading candidates. They are known as the rocket cars, America's answer to the global transportation technology race. The first prototype to be tested was called the Garrett.
This one was used to see how fast you could run on rail. That's all it was doing, how fast it could run on rail.
They used a 3,000 horsepower turbine from a crashed NASA airplane to give it all the power it needed.
The Garrett set the world speed record for an air-powered wheel-on-rail vehicle at 255 miles per hour. It is still holding this record today.
That must have been exciting and honestly terrifying for the crew that did these experiments.
And there's one red button that always tripped us out. We couldn't figure it out. It's on the center console in there. And engraved on top of that button, it says, no, Psalms 23. One guy said, you better know the Lord, you're gonna push that button.
It's the stop button. I think the message is, if you try to stop this thing when it's going top speed, you better start praying.
It had a reverse tail hook up on the back. It grabbed a cable that was across the tracks, and it was dragging 1,000 feet of anchor chain. And that's how they slowed it down.
But the Garrett was unfortunately an accident waiting to happen.
The TGV and the bullet train, they tilt. That's what keeps them on the tracks. This one couldn't do that. So there's a big chance this come off the tracks. Oh yeah. I'd hate to see that thing come off the tracks at that speed.
To revolutionize train travel, American engineers decided they were going to have to move away from traditional railroad tracks. In 1972, the Office of High-Speed Ground Transportation began testing a brand new train technology.
The idea of the hover train came from the hovercraft concept. If you could do that over water, why not over tracks?
This is the Grumman. It's called a track levitated research vehicle. It ran in a channel of concrete like this. These big rubber pads here kept it off the sides of the concrete, and the ones on the bottom lifted it up.
So the Grumman got its levitation power from 3 huge turbofan engines on top. It would suck in air and then expel it underneath.
When they first started to run this thing, they thought it was a bird. Tried to fly, it came about 6 feet up off the ground.
To this day, mystery surrounds this vehicle, and information on it is still classified.
There's so much we don't know about the Grumman. This makes you think, what did they learn in developing it?
The secretive nature of this train makes sense when you realize the resemblance it has to one of the most famous vehicles of all time.
We were told by a man that was in the Smithsonian that they wanted to use this for aerodynamic testing for the Space Shuttle. It looks just like the shuttle.
But much of its operational history remains a national secret.
To this day, we've been unable to get test results on this thing.
But just before the Department of Transportation pulled the plug on the whole program, one more radical machine was tested, the Roar Aerotrain.
These 2 big holes here are air intakes. If you were standing over there about 50 feet away and they fired this thing up, it would pull your hat off for you and it'd go through the fans.
It was another hover train, but this one ran on a monorail.
I think it would have been a great thing. When it was up on the cushions, you could put your hand on the back of it and push it. There was no friction to it at all.
Stepping inside the train really gets the imagination working. It's like stepping into the past and the future at the same time.
I used to enjoy coming up here and just sit down and look at it and just dream what it was to operate this thing.
One thing so distinctive about this train is it didn't have a traditional cockpit for the engineer to look out of. He would rely on the video screens to see what was going on down the track. And if he really wanted a live view, it had a little periscope that he could pop up and take a look out of.
In 1975, the government strategy shifted away from high-speed rail, and the whole program was shut down.
The forecast of nationwide gridlock never really materialized, mostly because larger, cheaper airfare became possible across the nation.
By the late 70s, everybody was flying in jets, and the cost was really quite competitive, even with old slow rail. An Amtrak ticket and a plane ticket were often roughly the same price.
This was a pivotal moment in American history, a time when the country could have had a very different future for transport.
Like everything that everybody's dreams, they kind of got shattered and they ended. And this is where the dream sets right now.
Ron proudly remembers the day these unique trains arrived, having taken a long journey from the nearby testing facility.
These are very hard to move. The one that we're sitting in right now was moved on house moving dollies. And it took them 2.5 hours to go 8 miles. I worked hard on obtaining them, and then to see them finally here, I sat back and just went, oh, they're here. Being one of a kind, that makes them very special.
The rocket cars have now sat dormant for decades, but their former home, the High Security Test Center, is still in operation.
All that security and secretiveness, it really makes you wonder, what are they doing out there?
Maybe some new, improved rocket cars are just around the corner.